While we're waiting, we can talk about if you're going to bottle this, which is always an option. I would suggest, if you do get into brewing at all, to maybe take the time or look around and start investing in some little pop kegs. The Dr. Pepper is like back in the old school times when they did the pop kegs like this. And so there's lots of these around. You can rebuild them, like if they're bad. There's just seals and gaskets and springs and stuff. Let's see, this might have to bleed this off. Okay, it's okay. I just cleaned this, getting this ready, but these are nice as opposed to, here's a full-size keg that I just had from a party, but see that small hole, it's very difficult to clean, that type. There's also pin lock and different types of old pop keg type things. The nice thing, you can really get into these. You can almost put your whole arm in there. And I'm not sure if you can see it very well, but there's a gas in and a liquid out. The gas in doesn't really have a stem inside. It's just real short just to pressurize it. The liquid, it goes almost way down to the bottom there. You can kind of see it. And that's what pushes out your whatever liquid you got in here. And people do still make pop, put it in their kegerator, you know, for the kids or whatever, homemade pop. And then my keg system has quick disconnects that just snap on these, and you can set your carbonation yourself. Bottling, you know, it's always an issue because you got to have the right amount of fermentation after it's bottled to get the carbonation to stay in there. It's called priming sugar. So what they would do is, once their brew's all done fermenting, they add a little bit of priming sugar before they bottle it, so it gives it just enough sugar to carbonate itself in the bottle. So you add some sugar, it restarts that yeast up, but you put it in a bottle and you cap it, and that pressure builds up and forces that CO2 into the beer. Well, essentially we're doing that artificially with a keg system. I could be drinking my beer about a week sooner because I don't have to wait for the process of it to be the bottles to carbonate it. I can actually force carbonate it, it's another thing, but you basically crank it up and shake it into your brew, and as soon as it's cold, it actually has a higher affinity to go into the liquid if your brew is cold. That's why, like, if your beer sits out and gets warm, it gets kind of flat easily. That's one of the reasons. So that's a great way to go about it, is to do kegs. This is a 5-gallon keg, so it's perfect for your 5-gallon batches like that. And you can also, you know, if you over carbonate, you can, you know, bleed out the pressure and let it sit and let it kind of put off some of that gas. And if it's not high enough, I can just crank it up. You don't have to carbonate cider. A lot of people drink it just regular. John Adams, that biography that Jordan gave me, John Adams drank hard cider every day for breakfast, which I thought was kind of interesting, but it was probably one of the ways to, you know, ensure their water was clean and that type of thing. But I'm sure it was completely different than this type of cider. Probably not nearly as alcoholic, as because cider will actually just naturally ferment. That's why if you go around picking up apples down underneath a tree that's been sitting there a few days, they'll taste like alcohol. They just ferment naturally. The bacteria, or the yeast I should say, that's on them naturally will ferment them. Same thing with like wine, same idea, can ferment itself. But with the champagne yeast, the thing with that is that champagne yeast can survive to a higher alcohol percentage before they start slowing down. The natural yeast, sort of like sour beers, if you hear about sour beers, they're just natural yeast that's in the environment, and they don't go nearly to as high alcohol percentages. So we're artificially making it a lot harder.